right. Good morning, everybody. You made it to Friday. And January's behind you. And by today, what is it, the 3rd? By today, all the debit orders should have come off as well. So that's one less thing to worry about. Right? Oh, man. Nobody likes that. That's the shittiest thing, especially in February, because you're like, oh, my God, January's bills, February's bills. All right. Well, we are into the year now. There's no holding back. And anyone who says anything like, oh, 2023, new year, sorry, you've been asleep. This is something we did in the first 2 weeks of the year. So you're on your own. There's no space for those people anymore. All right, let's get cracking. We have so much to do this morning. We'll have Ben join us a little bit later on. Simphiwe is in the studio in Johannesburg getting ready. And we have lots to talk about. Oof, there's plenty. There's apparently the Edenvale SPCA has obtained a search warrant to go and look for tigers in the area. How do you like them apples? Huh? Yeah. Believe it or not, the tiger stories continue. So Edenvale's SPCA, I still can't get over these tiger stories. So apparently they've said they want to go and check several properties to try and locate a tiger seen in the area earlier this week. The local SPCA was flooded with calls about sightings of a tiger roaming the streets in Eastleigh. A security company later reported that it was sedated and sent the tiger to a sanctuary, but declined to give details. You are not Mike Tyson, and having a tiger is not a good idea. If it doesn't eat you, it'll eat someone else. End of story. Bad idea. The animal welfare organization said it was in the dark since the 9-month-old tiger was allegedly caught by SWAT SOS 24/7 on Monday. So that's the security company. The SPCA expressed concern over reports that private security had sedated the tiger when it was not authorized or qualified to do so. I know the SPCA are trying to look after the animal, and I get that. That's what they're there for, the Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. That's what it stands for. And you don't want people being cruel to animals, but having these things as pets is already cruel to animals. I'm sorry. Unless you are some sort of, in the wild type conserver of animals, you have no business keeping this in a suburb. It's just not on. It was suspected the tiger might have been kept on premises, however, nothing was found. The local SPCA was accompanied by its National and Santon branches for the property searches on Thursday. Oof. It's just that, Simphiwe, this is your neighborhood where this new tiger is. It's your neighborhood.
So there's what? It's close, but not in my neighborhood per se. South Africa is amazing. It's one of one thing will happen out of the blue, and then it constantly happens. Like now we're having tiger issues. Hey, like what's going on, guys? Like nah.
Just when you think you've figured us out. Hey, by the way, is that a hoodie you're wearing? Is it suddenly starting to get cold already? It's only the 3rd of Feb. What's happening here?
This is definitely a hoodie. Gareth, it's very much cold outside. And me and cold don't mix. But if it does get a bit warmer, I will take it off. I have I'll try some skin. But until then, no.
We haven't taken any bets on who will be the first one in our new CliffCentral pool. I mean, we've got a pool.
I already know who's gonna be the first one.
Who?
On a technicality, he's already dipped his feet in. He's already just lazed around. Yes, so he's ready to go. And once he opens the gate for us, we'll all be in that pool.
Well, we've got to make use of it while summer's still here, right? So, I mean, how many people do you know who have a pool at the office? That is quite cool.
I know,
if you cast your mind back to 2 weeks ago when we just started moving, that would have been the perfect time for us to be lazing around the pool.
I'd just be like, oh, I'm so stressed. Let me just dip my feet in the water, and then before you know it, it's just paddles and. It's like, oh, yeah, it's 2 hours later. Oh, yes. Gareth, what were you saying again?
Now, speaking, I know you meant paddling in the pool, but there are apparently paddle courts, like the new sport that everybody's playing, paddle. That's across the road, right?
Yes. I'm also
We
trying to
could.
get in there, like
Uh,
swimwear, because I heard it's a very expensive sports, and me and money, hey.
no, but I mean, I've heard we can actually ask Ben about this because he's been playing paddle for a while down the road at the Wanderers. So it's worth checking in with him just to see what he has to say about it. But apparently they're like walking distance, so you can literally walk across our road, and you're there at the courts. Now I don't know if you have to be a member or whatever. I think those ones belong to Discovery, right?
I think so.
Oh, no, yeah. So, I mean, we'll figure it out. We've got to still get to know the neighborhood, and there's lots of videos that we'll have to make so that we can share our exploration with everybody who listens. But you're in the studio this morning, which we used for the first time yesterday for Dr. Mark's show, which is very cool. So Dr. Mark gets the honor of being the first live show from our new studios. It just sounds a bit echoey still. We haven't put up the soundproofing. We haven't done all of the treatment that we need to do to the room. But I mean, just looking around, you've got like a screen up there behind you.
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
As you can see, it says Gareth Cliff Show.
Uh-huh.
That's all I'll share for now, kids.
Yeah.
Tune in for more next week.
Yeah, we're not going to give away too much more now, but it's going to look very sexy when it's done. Very, very. Okay. So aside from tigers, I want to hear your thoughts on this. So this was at some big meeting. It could even have been at Davos. I'm not sure. Where a whole lot of these, world leaders are gathered to talk about solving the world's problems, which of course they never will. But it's really about making themselves more powerful and, and shitting on the little people. So I'm going to play you this video because this is how they open their conversation. Now, this is before a serious speech with serious people. So there are these two women who are, I think they are just performing artists, but I could be wrong. They might also be activists of some kind. But there is probably nothing more disgusting and nothing more horrific from a pure artistic point of view than activists combining an art with what they do, because usually it's not artistic or creative at all. I know I'm setting it up quite a lot, but I'll let you decide after you've heard it. And I was railing the other day about how shitty art has become, just sculpture and painting and all of that stuff. And I think a lot of people got the idea that I was very, very angry about this, and I am, because frankly, art's meant to make you feel good, and it's meant to improve the human condition. It's meant to be an expression of humans and their best and most incredible creative instincts. But these days, it seems art has deteriorated to basically sewage. So here it is. Here's another example of sewage. You tell me, though, what you think. This is a serious conversation. You can see the world leaders gathered, their flags of the EU and a bunch of other countries. And then these two women start doing this. I'm going to try my best to explain what's happening. So you've got all these people, and by the way, none of them burst out laughing, which is what I would have done if I'd seen that shit happening on the stage in front of me. So there's one woman who, in front of the main table of people with their microphones and their flags and all this shit, is rolling around on the floor, and she's possessed by a demon. There's no other way to put it, right?
I wanted to start praying in tongues, Gareth. I was just like, hey, who are you?
And almost it sounds like the one who was standing behind the podium going, she moves away from the podium, but she's got a microphone like Madonna attached to her mouth. And I don't know if she's singing in a funny language, but it sounds to me like they're both white English women, okay? But she's making this shit up. it's like some kind of like, feminist language that I'm not partial to, that I wasn't allowed to learn. It's horrible. The one who's possessed on the floor is rolling around, lifting her shoulders, stretching her arms out. She looks like she's being, attacked by Casper the Invisible Ghost. And then the other one moves away from the podium and starts like shaking around, and also starts becoming possessed. Now, I really don't know whether there's anyone on earth, if they're being honest and they're being sincere, whether they will admit what I've already said here, that this is not art, this is not an expression of creativity. And these people should be laughed out of the building. But here they are performing for an audience of supposedly the most important people, right? These are supposedly people who have really responsible jobs. They're representing countries and geographical communities and economic hubs and all that kind of shit. And these people, instead of laughing out loud and chasing these two morons off the stage, are sitting there stone-faced, like, this is perfectly normal. We're not going to pretend there's anything weird going on here. Your face was my face when I first saw it.
I'm shook. I'm so shook. Like, I'm just like, what the hell is going on? I really wanted to just pray and just be like, Satan, get behind me, because that cannot be taking place. And how just everyone was so normal, and no one was just like flinching to be like, yeah, what is this? It's also a bit disheartening. It's like, is this the new norm now? Like, this is
It's
our
very
new
weird.
normality.
So I don't think it's the performance itself, which is just terrible. And I mean, if kids did that in a school talent show, they would be laughed at by the fellow students. But what bothers me is the way people are bullshitting each other. They're like, no, this is good. That's what bothers me. Is like, you and I, Simphiwe, are sitting here now, and we're like, that is some bullshit. That is the worst thing we've seen. I would not take that seriously. And yet these other people are sitting there going, this is very important. This is powerful stuff. Good shit these guys are doing. I'm glad they booked these two for our little opening act this morning before we start the plenary. I mean, do me a favor. What is this? Why are we
And the
laughing?
lies
And why are
continue.
we really unreal?
Yeah.
So propaganda says it's a demonstration of police brutality in a totalitarian society. That's all. Tracy says if you watch that and you change the music to Sia's Chandelier, it makes it a bit easier. Lovely Lady Lee says it's like a ritual being performed by these world leaders. Seamus says, I'd rather watch a stripper myself. Oh, yeah, absolutely. The exorcism is of the lady in the white. What the fuck was that, says Aleko. Yeah, KB says, what the fuck am I watching? Demon-possessed women entertaining the crowd. Well, they're not entertaining anybody. Derek says it's the vaccines, I tell you. This is the fall of the West and the rise of the East, says Aleko. Nico says, I'd love to hear Ben's take on that. Well, we'll play it for him a bit later on. I'm sure he's got something to say to it too. It looks like a kid having a tantrum. Yeah. It's weird. It's their own art, says Lungelo. Similar to your own truth.
Get away with that. No, right now we don't want your own art. No. This is entertainment for the masses, and no one was entertained. In fact, I was a bit traumatized. I feel like now I need to see a therapist after that performance. Like, what the hell?
I'm sorry. When I saw it, I was like, I cannot let a day go by without sharing this with the audience. The people need to see this. People need to know that I suffered to see it. Now you need to suffer to see it as
But
well.
you see, now we have triggers. You just triggered me, Gareth. You see, in
I know.
this era of my
Don't
truth
worry.
and my world and my nonsense,
You know what?
now I'm like walking around with hurt because of that video. And now, like, the next person I see, I will feel obligated to do random demon possessed like things, because that is where I am. No.
You are going to be. You're going to hand over the post-traumatic stress disorder. That's what you are. You're going to. You're now a sufferer of PTSD because of that stupid video. But people must know, says lovely Lady Lee. People must know. You know, I did. I'll admit this. There's like a sick thing here. Like, I had watched it 3 times. I was like, And I know you're excited that when Ben joins us just now, you're going to watch it again, right? I know you are.
Can I just close my eyes after that? No.
Really? Rajesh says that's what happens when cable thieves get it wrong. I love it. Oh, shame, Aneska. I'm so sorry. She says my 3-year-old was proper upset now about that demonic woman on the floor. Shame, man. Yeah. Well, you know, at least we know that even though we've got blue water coming out of the taps and we've got like electricity problems that will never end and we got tigers on the loose, all of that shit, at least in South Africa we're not doing that and pretending it's art. I mean, that really
no,
is
no, no, no. Oh no, South Africa is bad, Gareth, because right now on TikTok there's a trend where people they're dancing and they look like possessed people. Their eyes are going back,
I spoke
and
too
I
soon.
don't even know how to. Yeah, I don't even know how to do that demonic dance. But I feel like they got the inspiration from this lady. You know, someone watched it and was like,
Mm.
"Aha, let's bring this onto TikTok for the kids." So yeah, we are in the dark. We're in the danger. It's
How
it's
about
bad.
how about Simphiwe? We try and do our own version around the pool. We'll do,
I
we'll
just
do,
so happen to
uh,
fall in the pool, eh?
we do Friday morning exercises around the pool with that as our backtrack. I think it would be so fun. Jesus. Well, I mean, that asteroid that passed us by yesterday that I spoke to Pumi about should come a bit closer. That's all I'm saying. We're ready for it. We are ready.
Yeah.
What do you
You know
think?
what?
We'll talk about this with Ben. He actually went on some other show the other day and spoke about this Tottenham Hotspur sponsorship deal. Are you a big supporter of this, Simphiwe? What do you think?
No, I am not. I am outraged by this just I don't know, wastage, if I could put it like that, right? Yes, we understand that different departments get their own budget and they can do whatever. But I think he needs to read the room. That's the issue,
Yeah.
is that currently right now there's potholes, shitting, tigers roaming around, like South Africa is going through the most. And then you're going to have the audacity to be lecturing us to say, hey, this money is going to bring in most tourists, and what we're doing is for the betterment of the tourist industry in
Oh,
South Africa. It's
please.
like, sir,
Uh,
sir,
Go to
sir.
hell. You know, we'll get into it with Ben just now. I'm sure he's got a useful take on it because he actually knows something about Tottenham Hotspurs for starters. I mean, he certainly knows more than me. But a friend of mine sent me a voice note saying, "Is this shit for real?" A different friend. And I was like, I'm afraid it is. What can I tell you? Stranger things have happened. So we've started the morning in a very strange way. Tigers, demonic possession, Tottenham Hotspurs. This is not a usual Friday. Here's a voice note. And I want you to throw in your 2 cents here, because yesterday I heard you've been on a tour of all the different coffee places and you've decided that you know which one makes the best coffee. But yeah, I mean, this could be like exactly what we need to hear this morning. So here it is. First of all, this one.
Good morning, CliffCentral team. Well, you did ask for coffee machine suggestions, and we are looking after a DeLonghi machine for somebody at the moment, and it is fantastic. The latest version of it is on special at the Culinarium at the moment. I'll send you a link, and I'll take a picture of the one we have, because I can't take a video because load shedding.
Load shedding. So thank you, Beth. She obviously is not going to give us her machine, so she wants us to buy one. And just send me the price, because I've seen some prices for these things that are out of this world, and I'm not paying an absolute fortune for it. I'm sorry. I'm a coffee fan, but I'm not that much of a. I'm not like a. These people. Some of these people. I know somebody who has one of those big. The ones that you see in those coffee shops.
Yes.
I know some people who have those in their house. Yeah, that's next level.
What?
I know. You had.
You got a whole, like, it's a coffee machine, but like the proper.
Yeah.
I could open up my own coffee machine in your house, chilling like a villain, just because you can. Gareth, your people move different, hey?
So tell me now about where you've been and what you've discovered, because we need your intel on coffee.
So I'm trying to expand my palate, I think, when it comes to just beverages. And
Mhm.
I am like trying different coffee spots. I'm trying to have my coffee like with no sugar.
Okay.
That took me a minute to adjust the whole like no sugar in my coffee. And I was like, what kind of world is this? Like, I'm not okay. And then people were like, oh yeah, but you're still having it with milk. You have to get rid of the
Uh,
milk. And I was like, oh, guys. But
Tourist.
at the moment, I've just gone to like the typical Seattle, Starbucks, Motherland. There's another coffee store not too far from where I stay. And the consensus is you guys just overhype coffee a bit too much, eh? Like,
Oh, all right. I mean, this is
like
interesting.
yeah, I mean it's a great beverage, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, it's just so bitter. And it's like you can taste the quality in the beans and whatnot. You know, now I understand, oh, this is a nice bitter. This is an ugly bitter. This is a at the end of the day, it's still bitter.
All right. So actually, we're not talking to a coffee aficionado here. You just some no, because listen, I'm not either. I will admit. You remember Mbulelo? He used to like tell us about the difference between Kenyan and Colombian beans, and he tried millions of different coffees from all over the world. Now I'm not in that level. I would say I'm like a out of 10. If these serious coffee people are a 10, and the people who drink Greek coffee from the tin are at a 1, I'm probably like a 6 or 7 maximum. I reckon you're probably like a 4 or 5, Simphiwe. You're like
But
not
I'm
taking.
leveling up. I was the one, like literally I was
Oh,
that girl who's like Greek coffee, Montebella. Ooh, that thing. There's nothing but now I've been exposed and I'm like, that I understand why you guys say that thing is garbage. Now I understand. I'm just trying to I'm getting there. Don't worry, guys. Very soon, quick and in a hurry, I'll also be like, oh, if it's not from Kenya, I don't want it. If it's not from
mm,
Ghana, I don't want it. But baby
yeah.
steps.
So Tracy says a friend of hers used to drag her big ass coffee barista machine along when she went camping. Seriously, camping. That's insane. I mean,
Yeah.
where do you even plug that in? And then a serious question from Sneh, who says, speaking of coffee, do you get headaches when you quit coffee? I don't think I'm addicted. Like, I don't have to have coffee. If I don't have it, I'll be fine. It's more of a thing to do. It's like, I suppose it's like drinking for me because it's a social thing. And at the
Mhm.
office, I drink coffee, but I wouldn't normally drink a ton of coffee at home. I'll have one in the morning. And then if I really need one because I'm feeling very tired during the day, I'll have one. So I haven't really had to quit yet. And I suppose, I don't know the answer is the short version of that, Snare. Hey, Ben, what's up?
Hey, guys. Happy Friday.
Yes, happy Friday indeed. Ben, we've been so excited to show you something this morning.
Welcome, Ben.
Simphiwe and I have been waiting because I played something for her earlier and it completely ruined her day. She says she has PTSD, and now I'm going to do it to you. So a quick setup is that this is 2 performers at some world leader conference. I don't know if you heard the first part of the show, so I'm not going to gild the lily.
I was getting
right. So I'm just going to let you see this because we were talking about how art has deteriorated, and then someone sent me this clip on WhatsApp, and I watched it 3 times, and then this morning's the 4th, and I'm just a little bit concerned that this thing is becoming it's crept into my head and it's not leaving. And the more I watch it, the more disturbing it gets. So it's these 2 women who they're feminists. They're doing some kind of interpretive dance thing, and they're singing. Well, the one is singing at the same time. The one is behind a podium, and the other one is writhing around on the floor like a demon-possessed nutcase in the front. But take a listen because this is going and watch. This is going to change your life this Friday morning, Ben, just for you. And we want to hear what your thoughts are afterwards. Oh my God, I can't get enough. It's so bad.
I've never seen someone harness epilepsy like that ever. That is incredible. Wow.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, let's all go there because that's where our minds are. Imagine you take that girl home after a night of tequila and maybe a little bit of MDMA.
Oh my God.
She would break your bedroom, not just you.
Well, I mean, that's not to even talk about the one who's behind the counter or behind the lectern and then moves out and starts.
I absolutely love that the bald guy in the front row. He's looking at this, going, "What?"
No, he isn't. He's keeping deadly seriously. He's taking it as seriously as he thinks he has to. You know.
Yeah, but you can see he's just thinking, "This is ridiculous. How much longer must I endure this?" What is it like? Do you know what it actually is?
It was apparently at some world leaders conference, Davos or something like that. It's very weird. Ben, what happened? Says Ricky. The last time I saw you on the show, you were black. What the
Sure, Ricky. Yeah, I've been having a rough week of no sleep, and I'm in my office. Maybe the lighting is a bit harsh on me right now. Thanks for noticing.
All right. Simphiwe seems to have lost her connection, so we'll get back to her in a minute. But while we're on the fun stuff, Ben, I thought you might enjoy this too. Have you heard of throuples?
That sounds like couples who want an extra bit of fun.
Correct. Now, it's become quite a thing. Unsurprisingly, it is mostly a thing for people, you know, who tend not to believe in the traditional family, because I don't know too many traditional families where there are, you know, 2 women and 1 man, or 2 men and 1 woman. But here it is. Here's a little video, and they do it irritatingly, as everything on TikTok is done these days, to some kind of soundtrack. So I really shouldn't play this, because otherwise we get warnings from YouTube that we're using other people's copyrighted material, which is ridiculous because people on TikTok are using it and nobody's shouting at them, right? Yeah, I'm gonna just show you this, and then, you know, we'll hear your comments again, just like with the crazy chanting and dancing demon possessed feminists just now. Here's some more people who really should be expunged. You know, last week we played this great game of how fucked are we? And I'm really just continuing on that trend, because when I find stuff like this, I save it for a Friday, because I know how much you and Simphiwe love it. All right, so here we go. Here's a throuple just for you and Simphiwe this morning. All right, Simphiwe, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Fine. I am Drew. I am Danny. And we are not the same person. We may have similar lives, we may have similar wives, but we are different nonetheless. And if you took the time to get to know us for a minute, you'd see
that poor dog. The things that dog must see or can't unsee.
So, first of all, why do people always feel the need to attach some really terrible song to every TikTok or Instagram reel or anything else that they do? I will never get over this. As a person who loves music, and I find reasons to put music into every part of my life, I do not see why people have to use horrible songs like that to try and, I don't know, soften how...
Gareth, it's the new filter. It's like people can't just put a picture up. They need to, you know, mess that up with the lighting. That music is a new filter. That's why it's there.
All right. That's the first question. Second question is, those 3 must have the ugliest sex in the whole world. I don't know how it works, whether it's that poor guy is like trying to service both the girls, whether the girls both ignore him. It doesn't look like it's a good situation for any of the 3 of them. I don't think any of them goes, whoa, afterwards and lights up a ciggy and goes, shit, that was good.
Okay,
I caught him.
Plot twist. They hire a big Ecuadorian man to do all the jobs, and he sits back and watches the 2 of them. Take that, throuples. That's what really happens.
I don't know how it works, but there's your thruple for this morning. To continue the how fucked are we theme from last week. So I don't know, guys. I mean, I'm just always looking for new and exciting things to show you on a Friday. It's become my new favorite game.
After this game, Gareth, I think I might have to speak to Dr. Hanan. Like, even my laptop was just like, oh, no, can't do this. So
I know you actually you quit the show just somewhere in the middle there.
That was not even me. My laptop said, this is not the kind of content you need to expose yourself to. So I'm going to be good for you and just switch off right now because that's what you need. And yeah, I'm not mad at that because, wow, I'm being traumatized right now.
Andre says, I feel ashamed to have watched that. Absolutely cringe. Mo Rabbit says, like the previous video, kill it with fire. TikTok is trash. That's why no one cares if they use copyrighted material. We're live on TikTok this morning, by the way. It's something that Ryan's trying. So, hey, China. I don't know what happens. People are doing this in the background. It's always the inbreds that do this type of stuff, says Aleko. Well, it isn't. I mean, this is becoming more and more. It's the norm, actually. I think the best song could have been Who Let the Dogs Out. Oh, that's very mean, Tyron. Very mean. They can never find the remotes until one of the girls stands up. People have jokes this morning. People have jokes.
That's a good one.
All right. Well, let's talk about some other things because you were now. This is very important. Ben was actually on an extremely important show yesterday. Do you want to tell us what it was called? Because I actually saved this on my phone just so I could bring it up with you this morning. Ben was on something called what is this? It's called Vision View Sports Radio.
Yeah, that's me. I really like the people on that show. They're actually very good hosts, which is not to say that most people are shit hosts, but yeah, I've been on 2 interviews this week where the hosts were they were impeccable, like good knowledge base. They let you talk.
All right.
They weren't insecure the fact that you might be smarter than them. Like just good hosts, you know, like you have here. Good hosts who actually really just want to have a good interview. Maybe it's just TV that's just so shit. Maybe I'm yeah, that's it. Yeah, Gareth, it was nice having conversations again with people who want to just take on topics, you know, because here we obviously do it, but here it's completely lighthearted and is always going to sort of like deteriorate into some sort of horrible humor. But I had serious conversations this week.
Okay, very good. And you were talking about this Tottenham Hotspur deal that was on the table and may still be on the table for R1 billion for SA tourism. Simphiwe wants to weigh in on this too because she thinks it's outrageous and she's horrified and she thinks it's, you know, the audacity of this government to be talking about this stuff. But what do you think before we get into an argument about this?
No, I think Simphiwe should kick us off because whenever she tackles, you know, topics, I think there's a very nice and balanced. So you go for it.
Well, I just think he's not reading the room of South Africa. And that's, you know, right now there's load shedding, water shedding. There are tigers on the loose. And then you spend R1 billion, not even just a couple of millions, R1 billion, R1 billion for what? Tourism, international tourism. And then they're going to come here and sit for 4 or 5 hours of load shedding.
Yeah.
Make sense.
So that is kind of my big takeout here is that the tourism department has to create tourism. So it's not their job to fix potholes or, you know, put all the muggers and the murderers into jail. Their whole job is to say, hey, foreigner, look, this is South Africa. Come to it. It's just for creating hooks. So they need to buy billboards, which is exactly what Spurs is. That little shirt that they wear is a billboard. But it's a billboard. It's a billboard that gets more eyes and more attention than anything that we could do personally. And, you know, there's a very good point that a good friend of mine made that would you prefer Spurs having R1 billion to do something or would you prefer the ANC to have R1 billion to do something? Because if the ANC had to create a billboard for R1 billion, it will probably be like 6x4 meters in Edenvale and it'll probably be on fire. And no one will see it, you know, where everyone watches, lots of people watch Spurs. But I think that the point you make is really good. It's like we totally get that you need to spend money to make money, and you've got to advertise and you've got to get out there. But I mean, I know this because I've been working on a tech product for the last 3 years. It wasn't ready in the beginning because we didn't have the money and there was problems. So do you go out to the world and try to get everyone to love this thing, even though it's not great? Because then you think like, shit, maybe I made the wrong first impression now. Like now that everyone's going to look at this thing as being substandard. And this country right now is substandard. The tourism is amazing. Like, I love this place. I visit South Africa every single month. I go away. But the crime is shit. The infrastructure is kind of failing a little bit. And it isn't great when you got to try to tell a foreigner, oh, we don't have power for the next 4 hours. And they're like, okay, it's not amazing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's a real balance. Like it's SA Tourism's job to try and get people to come here. So they are essentially doing their job. And I think that they've been courting a British team for quite some time. You know, Rwanda has done a big deal with Arsenal over the last few years, and that's apparently created like a 30% uptick in tourism. People don't want to just go see gorillas. They're happy to go see Rwanda because every time they watch every time they watch Arsenal, it says visit Rwanda. And when people watch football, they're also drinking, right? So after a couple of beers, they're going, I should probably go visit Rwanda. Let's fuck that. So it's good to be in front of rich, drunk people. And I think that's what Spurs will give us. But yes, it would be very nice that they're coming.
Is Spurs a particularly good team, or are we just getting them at a good price?
Look, they're a high-profile team. They've made a Champions League final, I think, 4 years ago. They've been quite shit in the league. They haven't won it, I think, ever. You know, they're very well known. Like, it's a big brand. You know, like they've got probably the most innovative and expensive stadium in the whole world. They host NFL games at the stadium as well, so they're quite multifaceted in how they see themselves as a big brand. But yeah, they're a big team. You know, they're a big team, and they've got big exposure around their games, and they're playing against bigger teams. You know, like they play against Arsenal and Man City and Chelsea. So everyone will see that thing. But what are they coming to is the question that we all have. Like, we get how businesses work. The question is, what are tourists coming to? And right now, like the crime is an issue. We sort that out. No one actually realizes how crime fucks everything. People go, you know, it's because it's a violent society. No, it's a jobless society. And people don't often just wake up and do crime because it's like they're a criminal. They just don't have anything. So crime becomes a way of life. And
you see, now I'm calm after that explanation, because when I watched the video of our minister, he was just lecturing us to say, oh, guys, everybody has budgets and I'm just doing, you know, the right thing with my budget. And it was just like, but you're not answering our questions. You're not telling us why you're actually doing this and how it can help. And you know what I mean? Like, it was just like, read the room, sir. You just spending R1 billion on this international team, and then you're going to say international tourism. We're promoting that, and you guys shouldn't be upset at the fact that we're spending R1 billion. Like,
yeah, see, but
I'm just shocked. Sorry, I'm just shocked that anyone in government has applied any thought at all to anything. I mean, usually I thought that money was just dispersed without any good reason at all. I mean, at least Ben has given us something of a reason. There's a little bit of an explanation here, right?
Yeah. And look, it's like, if you look at your marketing, any sort of product, there's a marketing mix to it. So you get the billboard, and then you get the activations, and then you get the other sort of, you know, special offers and packages. So it's all like a big mix. But some people, like, when you talk about reading the room, politicians are reading the room. The thing is, they're in different rooms to us every single day. When they wake up, they're never in our room. They don't know what fucking power shortages are. They don't know what traffic is because they're in the stupid blue light things. Politicians will never be in our room, so we can't expect them to read it.
Moonchild says, I can just imagine all the ANC elites sitting in the fancy private box eating caviar and drinking champagne on taxpayers' money. Yeah, I think that's what pisses us off more than anything else.
Yeah, because we know that that's going to be the case.
Tabo says, Ben, do you genuinely think that Arsenal's Visit Rwanda sleeve sponsorship has worked for tourism? I'd like to see the numbers. Otherwise, this thing is a hot, steaming pile of horse shit.
Tabo, you can go onto the internet. There's been reviews around this. There's documents around this. But ultimately, all these things have risks, right? People can say, yeah, it's created X amount of new people coming in. And like I said, it's part of a greater mix. You know, people need to understand that Rwanda exists, and then it's up to Rwanda to then have other things in place. Like, I've been there. It's worth visiting. And it's the same with this place. It's really, really is worth visiting. It's an incredible tourist destination. This is just the first step in getting people to come here. And we must all maybe play our own little part, you know? Tell people all the time how great this is.
JP says, ever get so drunk that you think, hey, let me go to that country where I can't charge my phone?
That's amazing.
That's good. That's good. All right. We've got this note on the coffee machine suggestion. We're in the business at the moment of trying to find the right coffee machine for our new studio, Ben. So we're getting a whole lot of input from people. Take a look at this. This is
Okay.
someone suggested this one.
Is someone trying to sell that to you? Is that why they're suggesting it?
I don't know. Looks like it. But someone said that to us. And we've also, we've had voice notes. We've had lots of suggestions. So, we're narrowing it down. We're slowly getting a little bit better at this. Also, I think on your agenda this morning, and while we're talking about tourism, let's just talk about Voluntourism, because Ben sent me a disturbing video the other day. It was, I think, on 60 Minutes or one of those shows in the US. Could have been in Australia as well. Basically, it's this idea that all of these people who volunteer to go to these other countries and like help the orphans or whatever else, they're actually, without knowing it, they're helping to promote a very bad cycle of abuse in those countries. And all of these do-good, like Western tourists who are also trying to make themselves feel good, that's number one. They're not really trying to help. They're trying to make themselves feel good or look good, are actually making the problem worse, because they're creating the conditions in terms of supply and demand for countries like Cambodia or Vietnam or whatever to find orphans and to create these terrible orphanages where they put these kids in absolute squalor so that the Western tourists come, give money, and they can keep getting their money. I mean, if they suddenly show that the orphanage is fully kitted out, every kid has a bed, they'll get a warm meal 2-3 times a day, then the money will dry up. So it's in their interest to keep these orphans in the most horrible conditions. And I'd never thought about this until you sent me this video, Ben.
Yeah, it really is quite depressing. So in its peak, the voluntourism industry is worth like $3 billion. And it's really clever. It's really clever as a business, seeing as we're talking about businesses this morning too. Basically, people realize that rich people need to go to places, but they're tired of going to Fiji and the Bahamas and traveling around Europe and all that kind of stuff. They want to create packages that make them look really virtuous, like nice people, but also kind of have a bit of a holiday. So they create all these voluntourism packages where you can go and help like African kids and sick kids and poor kids, and you can go do all these amazing things that make you look like one of those volunteers who dedicates their lives to others. You know, if you need to work with kids around the world or work in these kind of places, you need a certain qualification. Like you need experience. You need to be part of these programs where you make zero. That's where volunteerism comes into it. You're really giving of your time. Okay. So like, you know, a lot of Christian missionaries over the time, they dedicate their lives to going to these places and trying to build communities. But that's a lot of hard work. If you're a rich kid having a bit of a college holiday, like that, you know, you got 2 weeks to be an amazing person. What can you give me for 2 weeks? So what these companies do is that they actually, as you say, that they place them in areas of poverty which aren't often always there, and they're actually created. You know, if you look at in America, I think orphanages are kind of almost being done. Like they're not like they used to be. But in these third world countries, orphanages are actually increasing, not because of orphans, it's because of the business of orphans. Like you can't make up how horrible this is.
Apparently also, and the thing I didn't know about this, one of the things I didn't know about it, is that all of these volunteers pay to go to these countries. They pay like an agency that then sets up almost like photo opportunities for them with these orphans or whoever else it is. I mean, that's if that isn't exploitation, I don't know what is.
So what they do, like let's just say, for example, Cambodia, like I don't have the actual stats around this, but this is the practice. There is an orphanage, it's a dilapidated old building, and there's like a few kids who don't have parents. What they do is they go into the surrounding villages and go, okay, you guys look poor. we're taking your kid for like a few months and here's some money or some maize or whatever. So they round up all these kids who actually do have parents. They put them in this orphanage and they treat them like absolute shit to make them even more downtrodden. Then when these amazing Canadian kids arrive, or these other, morons, they're like, oh, these kids really, really need our help. And like, they really do, but they didn't previously. They were living lives. And now they get pushed through the system. So the more dilapidated the place looks, the more desperate the kids look, the more money they'll get sent. Yeah. So these businesses, they need stock, and these kids become their stock. So if they've got 50 orphans, they can get sort of grants that come every single year. And then the tour buses just go from place to place to place. It's like when you go to Greece and there's like 5 different places on the tour that you go to on a bus. It's exactly the same with these orphanages. And if you got like a club foot or there's something really wrong with you, even better, because then it's like better for opportunities. Then like, Bernice from Ontario can say, look, this was me with young Jamal. And I read him stories, and I would carry him to his favorite tree and he would like pick fruit. And then she would fuck off a week later. And this little kid is like, now what? Back to the hole.
Yeah. Right.
It is so sad. And, going back to the qualifications again, like these kids go there and they teach the kids. So they stand there and they go, oh, I don't know how to teach. And then the person who's in charge of things like, just read the board, they'll be fine. And these kids are sitting there being taught. They're getting taught fuck all. And then they go, oh, yeah, so what were you doing over the summer? Oh, I was in Indonesia building a school.
I built a school that taught some children some amazing. And, in some circles, and this is what's so disturbing, is, again, the incentive structure is all wrong. Because in some circles, you get more social credit. You get more, more of your friends will be impressed by a story about you supposedly teaching, even though you're not, a bunch of kids in a poor country, than if you just donated to a soup kitchen down the road from you in, Los Angeles.
Yeah, but there's no photo opportunities. So the thing about the building the school and stuff is that what happens is that they make these efforts. Oh, I've been laying bricks all day. It's been so great. But then they're going to demolish that because it's not structurally sound. Or worst case scenario, it actually goes to completion. That building then falls over in a couple of years and people die. And this is the reality of this kind of stuff. But you've got your photo. You've gone back to your first world. Happy days. At Christmas, everyone can talk about what an incredible humanitarian you are.
Yeah, really. And people are doing this for clout. They're not doing it because they care. And this is the kind of superficial, performative society that we've become, where don't pay attention to what I'm actually doing. Just pay attention to what I want you to see, what I want you to think about me, which is just horrendous. Because there, as you mentioned earlier, Ben, there used to be people who did this stuff because they were good people who wanted to help. And they did it knowing full well that nobody was watching them. Nobody could see what they were up to, how they were, building a school or spending 3 or 4 years in, some tiny tribal community in Southeast Asia. And when they got home, people said, what did you do? And maybe 5 people would actually ask. And then 5 people would know if they sat down and listened to them. But they were doing it for the right reasons. Now, thanks to phones and social media, people are doing it for completely the wrong reasons.
So yeah, these companies that do it, I mean, you see these directors taking out like $1 million a year in profit because they just got these rich kids to go to these places, and they've created basically like poverty zoos where you can go and engage, interact, and it's only making it worse because now other companies are going, shit, if I can find 20 downtrodden kids and I can put them into that building, I'll also get money. But these kids, no one's taking care of them. They're being taken away. And a lot of the time that they get abused just so that they can look more desperate.
Sure.
Bad, right, Simphiwe? I mean, you don't think about it until someone explains this to you.
Yes. A few years ago, I heard about how there's a business in begging, and how people actually make a lot of money from the kids just chilling on the corner there begging the whole day. And I was horrified. I was like, oh my word, there's nothing left. You can't do a good random act of kindness anymore because that's going to feel something somewhere, and you don't want to get into that mess. Now hearing this, I'm like, oh no, we really are messed up as a entire, not even country, just earth in general, because it's something so good has now become like exploited. So even if I did want to do something that was helping a community, you don't know if that's truly helping the community or you're just making things worse for them. Like,
Yeah. And it almost doesn't matter what you say because, you know, the reality or what you do, as long as it looks good. It's all like the theater, the performance, the acting has become a part of everything in society because actors have been taken way too seriously. Now acting is regarded as the real thing, and it isn't.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was also that, I think it was the movie Slumdog Millionaire, where you see all those young kids in subways, and some of them get their eyes like burnt, so they're blind, and then they sing, and that's how they get the sort of most money. There was even like a name for them. But they're these old, crusty men who gather up these kids, because there's so many kids, obviously, in India, and they make them blind, and then they sing, these blind singers, because that's what gets the rupees.
Imagine how horrible your life is, that you don't really have a say. Your eyes are like stabbed out, and then you're made to beg on the street corner. I mean, that is probably something that we would not regard as being a constituent part of modern life, but it is. It's scary. Yeah. Anyway, we thought we just needed to refer to that because I think if you pretend that everything is hunky dory and that, you know, these people who are supposedly doing so much good are now actually doing huge amount of damage, if we just pretend that stuff's not going on, we're not helping the situation, and we can't ignore it. We like to talk about real stuff on this show, funny and ridiculous, and as well as those, the serious things. So when we come back, we're going to go back to the ridiculous because Simphiwe wants to talk about Mukbang, and you've had enough. You say it's enough already.
It needs to be cancelled. That's all I'm going to say. Cancel Mukbang videos, cancel Mukbang influencers, cancel the whole thing.
It's done, and I will explain why, and she'll tell us exactly what the problem is here with Mukbang. Also, Ben wants to talk about AI porn, and should we encourage the opening of this frontier? We will talk about that in just a moment, because I don't know if you've got these WhatsApps from people. Friends of mine sent me like these videos where they've made like it looks like social situations with people, but none of the people in the pictures are real. They're all AI generated. In other words, they don't exist, but they look real. It's frightening. We'll get into all of that and more in just a little while. Stick around. CliffCentral.com. Friday morning, everybody.
Up next in the Auto Trader podcast.
And we'll be at the Formula E this year, so maybe, kind of unpack a little bit of that as well.
Can't wait. I might be able to get to meet the drivers. So,
really?
Yep.
Nice.
We'll see.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be in your bag, so, we will get to meet the drivers.
Since when are you switching from the loud, noisy Formula 1 cars to Formula E?
I like motorsport. So
okay.
I'm not really,
right, fair enough.
I'm not too.
It seems like the Formula E cars have changed, though. Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
Thomas Anders from Modern Talking knows they exist. Gary Kemp from Spandau Ballet once saw an email from them. Someone who works for Rick Astley liked their Instagram post. And Chesney Hawks? Well, Chesney Hawks was just really lovely. That 80s Show meets your favorite 80s artists. Hours of interviews right now on CliffCentral.com. It's the biggest collection of nostalgia since you cleaned your childhood bedroom. That 80s Show. New episodes every Friday, live or as a podcast on CliffCentral.com.
All right, we are live Friday morning, CliffCentral.com. So much to do, so many things to get to, and we will be joined just a little later on by one of my favorite people, all the way from Zambia, Mutale Mwanza, who actually came to visit us at our new studios just the other day. Ben, you haven't been there yet. You're going to come and visit too in a couple of days' time.
Not yet, Gareth. Waiting for the invite with the new coffee machine. It's going to be a thing. I'll take TikToks of it and I'll upload. No, I won't.
There we go. Yeah. Well, this is what she did. So we're gonna talk to Mutale a little bit later on. And I think I met her for the last time on the show in June. It was last year. So it'll be good to have her back. She's got lots to talk about. She was also fired in Zambia from her last job because she was talking about things she shouldn't have been talking about, which I always love. People like that are my friends. I associate with people who've been fired because of things that they said. Okay, so first things first, let's just get this mukbang thing off our chests, because you sounded pretty damn decisive about the fact that it must be cancelled and that you are not partaking in this anymore. You thought it was stupid from the beginning, but now you think it's also dangerous. Why?
It is content that is literally killing YouTube creators. So there's a creator, Nico, who started off at a very healthy size of he was 70 kilograms, and he started creating this mukbang videos. And in the beginning, he was like, I'm gonna try this vegan lifestyle, and then he was like, nope, not for me. And then he kind of started getting a bit more crazier with the meal intake. So he started doing these 10,000 calories challenges and whatnot. And now homeboy is looking like this. He weighs over 160, and he just does these ridiculous feasts on his show and on his channel. And I'm just like, no, this is why we're encouraging such behavior. There's another YouTuber or TikToker, he's passed on because of doing crazy mukbangs like this. And I think we need to cancel this. Now, we need to stop with the ridiculousness. And he'll be on his channel saying, I don't know why I gained weight. This is just water fat. I really don't know why. And then he's eating 10 McDonald's. We need to cancel.
Who is watching? Is this the next step of ASMR or whatever that crap that was?
Yeah. Mukbang is a kind of ASMR.
I just thought it was an Indian rapper.
No, mukbang is where. Correct me if I'm wrong, Simphiwe. We had someone came on the show and explained this to us because she did mukbang and she's a famous South African influencer. I didn't know that this was the thing she was making her money off of. It's like mouth noises. It's like eating noises. People are into that.
Watching you eat your food, and there's sometimes commentary. So some people be like, "Oh, today I'm trying a new meal from this particular restaurant. Let's go," and they'll order the meal and then basically review the meal. And other videos, more popular ones, they just order the meal and they eat. That's all you're hearing. You watching someone eat, and you can hear all the different sounds that they're making. And so it's quite a popular thing, but it's now I'm seeing the dangers of it. It's this guy, he started off healthy, it started off cool, and now he's overweight. And the thing is, he'll be on his channel and be like, oh, I can't wait to get to 300 kilograms. I can't wait to get sir, no. You're literally dying before our eyes, and then wondering why you've gained weight. You're wondering why you're so unhealthy, and then you having 10 McDonald's. Make that make sense. We need to cancel this. This is not healthy at all. And I don't think we should be allowing any kids to watch such content. It should be banned from YouTube.
But again, I have to ask, the incentive structure is perverse, right? I mean, what kind of people are watching someone else become obese and getting their thrills from that? And the fact that there is a market demand for someone to do this, again, I sometimes think maybe we're the stupid ones, because if you could just eat your meals publicly and record them, and you could make enough money to keep on living, and that's your whole job, maybe we're all just stupid.
No, that's a
we're the
level
ones.
of comment I will never engage. I don't care if someone said to me every single day, "Here's $100, film every meal." That's ridiculous. That's a different kind of prostitution. You are, it's not even selling your soul. It's like, what next? Every time you take a shit, here's $50. Just put the camera on.
Ben, there are people making money for stuff like that, and I just sometimes think, well, you know,
I know they are. But it doesn't mean that we're the stupid one. That's the point I'm making here. We're not the stupid ones here. I don't care what they get to do. I don't care if they're lighting their farts for $100 a time. There's levels of how you conduct yourself as a human being. They're right. There's levels.
Are you saying that if someone gave, if enough subscribers came to give you $1,000 per fart lit, you'd still say no?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would say no. I would like to think of myself as more than the guy who lights his farts, because that's who you'll become, right? Everywhere you'll go, then you'll be at parties and people will be putting loose hundreds around going, "Yeah, light one, light one." And then how do you live from there? How do you live? I met this really nice guy, but unfortunately he lights his farts for a living, so I don't know if it's going to work out.
You are right. No, you're right.
You're my kind of person, then. Yes, have morals.
So producer Ryan says the thing is, the trend started as an interview segment, eating while interviewing someone, not eating on your own. Yeah, you see, I think that's quite rude. I don't like it when people are like munching, or even if you're just chewing gum while I'm talking to you, I think it's quite rude. But then I'm maybe old-fashioned and boring. I'm willing to accept that. So
I just find this whole like mouth thing, because like a lot of relationships break because people get so tired of hearing other people eat. You know, like people who've been together for a long time. It's like, I cannot. Like every time you eat, I want to throw you through a plate glass window. That's like one of the things.
No, but that's when you know the person is done with you. There's no coming back. They're just over you, and even the chewing, you could be breathing normally, and they're like, oh, just even how you just take your your sighs just annoy me. Like, you know, like, yeah, that's just, you leave when they get to that. Just break up with that person. They don't want you anymore. When they're just like, you can't even chew properly. Leave. Be like,
everything about you irritates them. I've got like that with people. I'm pretty sure they've got like that with me.
Mm-hmm.
George makes a good point. Borge, he says, is it not the case that people like watching other people be worse than they are, which makes them feel better? So people are mostly shitty, and they you know, most people's lives are quite boring. And if they see someone who behaves in a more embarrassing fashion than they do, it gives them a feeling of superiority.
Is that what we're doing right now? Is that what we're doing? Because we maybe feel better. We're looking at these people and going, I'm not that. Look at me looking down on fart lighters this morning. I mean, maybe I'm doing that.
Right. Maybe, huh? Maybe that's what's going on here. All right. So from the frying pan into the fire, Ben has got some comments on AI porn. Yes. I knew this was going to be the frontier. Who was it I was talking to the other day about this? Someone on the show said, obviously, when I think it was Aki, because porn, he was on the show on Monday, and he went to that show in, what is it called? The Consumer Electronics Show. And he said that obviously porn is going to be the leading developer of the next layer of human experience with regard to virtual reality. You put on the VR headsets and you'll be able to have sex with anyone in the world, because they will be able to artificially generate those pictures in your VR headsets. You don't even need imagination anymore. It'll do all the work for you. Now, because porn is at the leading edge and there's money to be made in porn, people will develop that technology faster than any other. So it's no surprise that AI is going to be one of the things that is going to break the frontiers and pioneer new things in that sphere of technological development. I mentioned these videos that someone sent me the other day. It wasn't porn, but it was videos of like people in social situations. But it was all these people who looked impossibly good, but they looked like real people. And, guys and girls, it turned out that none of them were real. They didn't exist. It was all artificially generated.
Yes. So I think the reason I want to bring this up, and more as a talking point than something I really truly believe in, maybe a lot of it's quite naive thinking, but like porn is quite degrading. I know people always say, "Oh, but people do it, and there's a supply and demand, and we live in a free world, that kind of stuff. It's your choice. Totally get that. Go ahead, do what you need to do." But wouldn't you think it'd be better if we lived in a world where people would maybe not look at porn to make money, and they could actually do other things? Like, I don't know. Again, it goes back to this whole thing about me lighting farts. That would ruin my life if I were to do that. If you're a somebody and no, Carl, I don't want $100. If you're someone growing up and you're relatively attractive and you think, oh, it's just an OnlyFans account, I can get money because this other girl was doing it and she got lots of money. And then suddenly it's videos and that kind of stuff. Before you know it, you're in a room with very large men and the lights are on you. If we basically then put AI out there to stream and flood and saturate the market with porn, then maybe those kind of people would think, maybe I should stay in college, or maybe I should try to do this rather. Because people will then see porn as this, because porn's already fantasy, right? All the people who are putting a lot of money into porn are not going out and meeting people and having constructive conversations. They're living in this kind of dungy sort of way. And what if we just flooded it with AI and it became so impossible for people to compete against all the AI porn that maybe they would do other things other than porn? Again, like everyone's got a kink, right? Maybe some people like one-legged grannies who are got with emphysema, and that is their thing. And maybe the AI perfection will be like a big turnoff for them. But maybe if we were to flood OnlyFans, because I was thinking, like, if you're really good at designing, and OnlyFans accounts are basically just releasing new images, right? Mm-hmm. So if we had AI OnlyFans, then the actual girls who maybe could have done other things in life that maybe were better for society, definitely better for them long term, they're now competing with this and they can't compete. So again, I just think this is an interesting talking point.
Bit on this AI porn, it's really started. I saw a tweet where this person had just like posted like the pictures of these girls looking all sexy, and then was like, boom, this is all AI generated. And in fact, there's a site where you can go on and kind of create your ultimate dream girl in the AI world. And this is the picture. This is just one of them. And I was like, it's going down, guys. Like, if this is what AI is generating, it's tickets. Yeah. It's ticket for the real world. It's because they look real.
Yeah, ordinary real people and even the most extraordinarily beautiful people cannot look as good as AI will eventually make you look. So maybe Ben's point, the most important point that Ben is making here is this could actually save a lot of people from the world of porn.
That's kind of where I'm going with that, because I don't think it's a really good thing long term. And people just think because there's now money and because OnlyFans is making it so accessible, everyone's dipping their toe. But we know it's like everything else, right? It's like drugs or all the other kind of vices and stuff out there. Where the money's easy, you don't just stop it. You don't just go, okay, this is it. Today's the day. I don't do this anymore. And then you get like a notification. Carl's got $100 to see your minge, and then you're back in. And then you're back in, and then it's another day. And now Carl's all of a sudden asking you, he's got 500, and now you ask for a bit more. And then you're lighting farts while naked, and Carl's, look, who knows where Carl's getting his money from, but he's parting with it for you.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, listen, I don't think that, if computers can do this and we don't have to actually degrade a living human being, there are already people who get turned on by cartoons, for example, more than they do by real people.
Yeah,
so I mean, are those people less or more dangerous or less or more invasive in society? I don't know. I mean, that remains to be seen. I don't think we're going to extinguish the desire of people to see other people naked. That's never going to go away. So you may as well give them a version of it where the people aren't actually real. And it doesn't matter if they have hideous and horrible fantasies about these non-existent AI-generated people, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's an argument that can kind of evolve. And I think ultimately some people will just say, like, then with all the perfection, then there'll be a new rise of average porn because people just want to see everyday people. I know this thing will always morph into something else because people always want something dirty. They're like, this is it. Since the first Peep Show back in the Wild West and whenever it was, people just have to have kicks.
But I mean, a good point being made here by Luzanne. Anime has ruined certain men's expectations of women. How will this affect relationships? That's another good point. It's like if the AI is so good that these women are impossibly beautiful and not one of them has a single scrap of cellulite and their bodies are just absolutely perfect in every way, is that not going to make the expectation and the reality so far apart that most men cannot find any kind of what would it be, happiness and success and satisfaction in a relationship because they've got impossible standards now thanks to AI? And at the same time, for those women, what it'll do to their self-confidence when the men have this idea of AI in their heads rather than what real women look like.
Well, I think that the Kardashians and just general TV have done that for a long time now. I mean, really unrealistic expectations. And I think, obviously, you've got to be a bit more mature to understand what's out there and go out and meet actual people. That's the kind of thing. But most people aren't like that. They don't see the big picture like that. They do have these expectations that every girl must look like that picture you just showed.
Yeah. And someone asked, the picture was of two girls, obviously fake AI girls, but they're standing there in their bikinis. And somebody asked the question, which one is A and which one is I? And Sharon says, hey, don't forget about the image of men too. Well, that's also true. I mean, you're going to have these impossibly good-looking guys, and then it's going to make the job for ordinary men that much more difficult in the real world.
And I think that's the issue, is that before, when we did have a celebrity culture, they were always there, afar, Hollywood, like the Kardashians was like, yeah, she's gorgeous and she's doing all of this, but she's a million miles away. This is just going to be like 2 seconds and you can create the ultimate goal for you. So in terms of interacting with like just the everyday man, this is also going to be like an issue. And I think we're going to see more women go under the knife and do crazy surgeries because we're always trying to get the attention of men. And if this is what they're liking, and we see that, oh, you created this AI chick that had like the perfect boobs with the ass and that, best believe we're going to see more crazy chicks do that just to try to get the attention of men in real life. And yeah, then we're going to see more crazy things. Like, if you think we've seen crazy, we're going to see worse.
You're right. But I always have this romantic idea of really trimming the herd when it comes to all things in life. So the people who want to die by eating all that food on YouTube, I'm actually all for it. Trim the herd. If people want to like spend their lives dreaming about AI people and girls who want to look like AI people, we're trimming the herd there as well, because people who actually value interaction, then they'll just become closer and closer together. The perverts on the one side and the really insecure tarts on the other, they could maybe have each other somewhere along this mix. But maybe if the core of society goes, you know what, this is all bullshit, I want to go out and actually be outside and physically meet people, it could be a driver of that, because we know that this is fake. We know this is not real. You got to be smart enough to realize that. And if we get more people condensed like that, great.
Well, John says, morning, guys. Love the topic. AI has changed so much. Our expectations of the opposite sex have been heightened. That's true. I mean, Parallel Parking says AI will give us 6-foot-long penises, which will put all donkeys and horses back into the pasture.
A lot of back pain, though, huh?
Oh, speaking of AI, I know it feels like we're beating up on her because she was on, we featured her on the show just the other day, but what the hell's going on here with Madonna and that AI face? That's airbrushed and made up, and that's not the face of a 60-something-year-old woman.
Why is she posing like that? I have an issue with the pose.
Where did she on with shoes on? Come on.
Like, what's going on? The mom, she's a whole grandmother. Please, can you act like a grandmother, please?
Please, Madonna,
like, we want to
please.
respect you, Nana. We really do.
It's getting bad. But Ben, you're right. Like, who gets on a bed with shoes on?
again, goes back to like basics. She's lost her mind. That was the worst picture I've seen of her.
No, she looks awful. She looks awful. Poor Madonna. I mean, she's obviously lost. So apparently, here's an interesting story for both of you. Horses and dogs went with the Vikings to Britain when they invaded Britain. So the Vikings had horses and dogs on their ships with them when they decided to invade Britain about, 900 to 1,000 to 1,100 years ago. Does that interest you? They've just discovered the bones. Yeah?
Is this related to Madonna? I'm waiting for the link.
No, it has nothing to do with Madonna, not in this particular sense. But she might have been around when the Vikings were there as well. She probably was one of the first people to have met the Vikings on the beach. She was standing there in a G-string, going, "Hi guys." I don't know. I'm just guessing. All right. Well, how about this then? An amateur detective has found a gold necklace that was linked to King Henry VIII. Now, I'm always amazed by these people. It's like these guys who like dive into shipwrecks and they try to find incredible things that have been hidden under the sea for years, and they find like hoards of Roman coins and all that kind of thing. I would love to find something really, really valuable, wouldn't you? I mean, wouldn't it be great to like go digging in your back garden and you dig up some gold necklace? This thing is pretty. I mean, I say pretty. It's beautiful. It's made out of gold. Take a look at this. Wouldn't mind finding something like that, right?
Ooh.
That's quite nice.
That's
Okay, yes.
That's expensive. Wow.
Yeah, my life has changed.
I think
After
there's only
finding
only one of those. You definitely can't find it at Stearns.
No, there's only one, and apparently this person was digging around, and they're a professional, I suppose, compared to like you or I, or who, these people have metal detectors, and then they go around. You've seen them on these TV shows, right? They go around to these metal detectors and it goes beep 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 beep, and then when it goes beep 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 beep, then they start digging there. So he'd only been doing this for 6 months when he unearthed a gold pendant in Warwickshire in England. So he wasn't a professional, he was an amateur. He dug this thing out of the ground, and it featured the symbols of King Henry VIII and his wife, Catherine of Aragon, on a chain that was composed of 75 links attached to an enameled suspension link in the form of a hand. The first of the 6 wives was Catherine. He married her in 1509. And this guy says, it was just outstanding. Nobody thinks you're ever going to pull out that, especially in my lifetime. In 30 lifetimes, he said, the chances of this being discovered is just incredible. And apparently everybody's very, very excited about this. It's a locket. So, inside they would have like kept a little portrait of somebody or whatever. But it's pretty amazing.
It would have been filled with cocaine.
You think so?
Absolutely. That Henry, there'd be a small mirror in there.
Right.
Just globby cocaine.
All right. Well, listen, Ben, we've got to get you around to the new studio. We got to get you hanging around our new gardens and pool and all the rest of it, and come and check the place out. We'll do that soon, maybe even next Friday.
Yeah, I would love to. Fantastic.
All right, we'll do it soon, but we'll speak to you later. Cheers, Ben.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. We got George joining us just now, but first, I want to welcome to the show for the first time since June last year, Mutale Mwanza, who is in South Africa at the moment, visiting from Zambia. How are you, Mutale? How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Hi, Simphiwe.
Good.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So you're visiting South Africa?
Yes.
Hang on. You need to get closer to your microphone. It's very muffled. We can hardly hear you.
Oh dear. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's a bit better.
Is it better?
It's a bit better. So tell us what's happening. Tell us what you've been up to. Apparently, you mentioned this. You dropped this into conversation, and I saw you on Tuesday or Wednesday. You said you were fired. And I always feel like these are my kindred spirits, the people who've been fired by media companies. So what happened with you? Tell us the whole story.
Okay, so I think I got a bit social media excited when I went online and I posted something about a parliamentarian. So
Oh,
there have been stories about, I mean, well, there used to be stories about how, she would sometimes doze in the Zambian parliament because of alcohol and stuff like that. So I went online and I teased my followers, with a question
huh.
like, would you prefer me, who was ambassador for a certain brand, like a stretch mark company, stretch mark removing company? So I said, would you rather bio oil or booze? You know, and yeah, everybody thought that was in bad taste, and I got fired for it. So here we
They
are.
fired just for
Yes.
just for making a bit of a joke about this woman who like falls asleep in parliament the whole time, is clearly doing nothing, and you got into trouble for this because you threw your brand in there and the brand that you support, and you were joking. I mean, this is outrageous.
Yeah, it was a joke in very bad taste, and the fact that she's, like she's old enough to be my mom, was quite disrespectful. So yeah, Zambia is very conservative, so it was
It
it
is
was really in
conservative.
bad. hmm
That's
Well, we like
surprised.
to regard ourselves as people, but
That
yeah, I
surprises
think
the
that's
hell
just
out of me. I mean, are you are you doing okay though? I mean, you've started your own media company, and you were there with your team the other day. You were filming a bunch of stuff, and obviously you've still got all your followers, so it's not like you're out of business or anything.
No, of course not. Actually, business is better. Like I'm thriving. Life is great.
Okay, well
I
that's
mean,
very
look at
good news.
you, just like you, Gareth.
I know. So tell me what's been going on. Tell me what you've been up to. I mean, like, let's do a proper catch up because it has been a couple of months.
Okay, so I think since I was here last, I opened a media company. I got my first show commissioned. I'm working on an exciting project, which I can't really say right now. And my goodness, I have amazing endorsement deals. I think life is generally great, hey? I have two shows on City Yesterday platform. I'm about to get a third. So it's just amazing.
It's all happening. That doesn't sound so bad. That sounds terrific. So, what about Zambian media in general? I mean, how's that working out? Because I said to you the last time you were on, I don't know that much about Zambia. You told us about some projects that are going on over there. You told us about some of the economic activity. You told us about some of the politics. But what's happening in Zambia right now? Because here in South Africa, you're lucky if you find electricity.
Oh, what's happening in Zambia? Just like you guys, load shedding. Bum,
Oh
bum, bum, bum,
no.
bum,
Really
bum.
exciting. I thought it was just.
Exciting time.
I thought it
No.
was just. This is very disappointing. So you also have load shedding.
Yes, for like 8 hours, actually.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Simphiwe is about to pass out. She's like, what?
8 hours. We're complaining about
I,
4.
I was in a meeting yesterday with a guy who's he's one of two people who started a very very successful agency in South Africa, and they've done extremely well, and they really are very very impressive people. He was saying to me the thing that scares him the most is how in South Africa, and I'm sure this has happened in Zambia too, we've gone from.
Mhm.
You remember when we used to get angry when the power went out? We used to be like, "Oh, what the hell? This government's useless. Why the hell are they?" We used to get angry. Now we're happy when the power comes on. And he said the problem with that is if you look at societies and countries that have gone to shit all over the world, the minute people start getting no, really, the minute people start getting happy about when things are working instead of getting angry when they're not working, you're a country in decline. And I thought that was a really really interesting observation from him, and I'm worried
Yeah.
that that's where we are at the moment.
I mean, it's hectic in Zambia. It's really hectic. But what the government did was that they decided to split the hours, right? So we've got 8 hours of load shedding, but it's like split. So like you have like either 2 hours in the morning, and then your
Mm.
power comes back on, and then you have another 2 hours of load shedding at lunchtime. So depending on your schedule timetable, based off where you live, obviously. So it's like split into, is it four? Like so you have like two, 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 or something like that. Something crazy like that. But I think generally it's annoying, and I think lately it's become better. I'm lucky. For some reason, I live in an area where we don't get load shedded as much.
But you know, I get very angry when I hear about people like you, and I've got some friends who also live in those areas where they don't get load shedding.
No, you're the type of friend I want to have in my life. No, Gareth. You are the type of person I need in my. I'm like, girl, you don't get low shed. I'm coming over. How you doing? Are you around Thursday at 6:00?
Please, you know what I want to do now? Because I don't get load shedded as much. I want to start a business, right? Where I start charging people. So I'm going to put like a little, you know, in Zambia, you call it like ekantemba, you know, like a spaza for charging phones, you know, a spaza shop. Aha. That's a business idea. So I'm going to set up a spaza, aka ekantemba, where I'm just going to have like people pay me so they can charge their phones. You know, if they want to come cook in my house, it's a different fee. If you want to iron your clothes, you know, I'll even throw in the, do you want your clothes ironed by Mutale Mwanza herself? That's an extra charge. Or do you want the maid to do it? If you want Mutale Mwanza to do it, pay an extra 1,500 kwacha, which is not so bad, right?
No, that's not bad. I would pay that.
That's ideas.
I think
That's
that's
a
very
great idea.
smart. This is
There you
entrepreneurship
go.
in action right now. This is what we're seeing. So, Mutale, what are you in South Africa for at the moment?
I'm here for lots of work. I'm here filming great content for a project that I'm working on. It's going to be amazing. And I'm here to generally, I think, take a break, if I were to be honest. I made sure that the
Mhm.
schedule was made in such a way that we have at least 2 days off to see the city and just to shop. Because we've been working since we flew in on Sunday. So
Yeah,
today is
you
going to be
you haven't really had a break. So someone wants to know. Mr. Savage says, "Is it bright there in Zambia at this time, or does she have a hangover?" They're asking about the sunglasses.
well, I'm not in Zambia. I'm actually in Stanton right now, and this is where I'm doing the interview from. But the weather's not so different in Zambia compared to South Africa. I think we're pretty much going through a similar weather pattern. It's raining there,
You're not
but
hungover.
Zambia's usually sunny.
You're not.
When you
You're
come
not.
to when it comes to
You're
sunglasses, I am a little hangover, but I generally love to wear sunnies. I don't care what time of the day. You will find me
So
with
where
a
did you
pair of sunglasses.
where did you go last night? If you've got a little bit of a hangover.
I actually didn't go anywhere. We had a bit of a turn up in my suite.
Oh, very nice. Okay, good. You're at a nice hotel then.
Yes, I don't go out unless I'm getting paid. So no money, no turn up. So we just turn up in our own stage.
I'll have a party with your people. I like it.
Yeah,
All right.
it's safer.
So apparently the Zambian kwacha is now stronger than the rand. Is that true?
Oh, is that what's happening? Wait, what? That's not what I saw the other day. Where's my other phone?
Is it
I
true?
mean, I don't think it's stronger. Is the Zambian kwacha stronger than the rand?
Let me see.
No.
Not yet. We get you get 89 you get 89 cents on the rand. So no, sorry. Zambian kwacha is deteriorating. It's not going up. If I look at
That's what I thought.
yeah, sorry. There was a point
not
where
so
it was
bad.
not. There was a point in what October 22, somewhere around then, in October, November of 2022, where
Yeah, last year, yeah.
the kwacha was at 1.10. So in other words, you would have got 1 rand 10 for every kwacha. Now it's 89 cents. So no such luck.
Yeah. You guys are doing okay, but not so far off though.
So who are you watching in terms of like social media and who's kind of making noise and who's doing the stuff that you think is entertaining at the moment? Besides you, I mean, are there people that we should be paying attention to?
Zambian?
Well, anyone. Yeah, I know you watch everybody. You watch people all over the world. So what do you think?
If I were to be like 100% honest, I'm watching. I mean, you obviously. Hi, Gareth.
Thank you.
Simphiwe, give me your handles. You know, I failed to tag you the other day. Okay. With that said, I am watching a lot of Ashake. You know Ashake from Nigeria.
Okay.
I'm obsessed with him. And then there's this couple from the US. I'm slightly embarrassed to say it, but I'm watching a whole lot of their nonsense. Krishan Rock and Blueface.
Ah, you like toxicity.
I'm
Ah,
embarrassed.
wait, Gareth, let me give you just
Who are these
this.
people? No, do you see,
Just
this is why I
small
asked.
in a picture. Just
Okay.
small in a. This is a couple, right?
Yes,
It's a rapper. There's a rapper called Blueface, right? And he has a
yeah.
girlfriend. I forgot her name, and I don't know what her claim to fame is. But they're in a relationship, but it's a
She's a
toxic
rapper
relationship.
also, Simphiwe. She's a rapper.
Oh,
She's actually quite talented. Yes.
hey. But it's a toxic relationship, right? She's gotten
Right.
not one, but two tattoos of his face on her body, one on the neck.
How is that toxic? She loves him.
Two, this chick has taken a bottle and ups him over the head. Tell me that's
Oh,
not toxic, Gareth. That is
no, no.
toxic.
That's
Yes,
abusive. That's abusive.
let me just
That's
show you
violent.
this. This is just so that, but you see, I would never know this stuff unless I'd asked that question to Mutale. And now you've told me a whole bunch. See, some people, you're holding out on me here. You're not telling me everything. This is Blueface, right?
Yes,
Look
that's
at
Blueface.
that.
Jesus.
It's
He
so
looks,
cute though.
oh my God.
That,
He's a
no,
disaster.
Gareth, that's probably a mugshot. Can you find a better image, please? That's a good looking young man. I think he's quite
Mugshot.
talented.
Did you just hear what you said? These people.
It is a mugshot. It's from the police.
I think
That's what
it looks like a mugshot.
it
He's
is.
a
A
good
mugshot.
looking guy. Let's find a better image.
There are, you know what?
Can you
That was
find-
the very first picture that came up when I looked up Blueface. Is that picture, and it's a mugshot, and it's embarrassing. So I'm gonna show
Oh
you a
my
picture. I'll show you a picture of him and his girlfriend, who also appears to be one of the most fake-looking people I've ever seen. She's one of those people who has like eyelashes where you shouldn't have eyelashes and that kind of thing. So take a look here. Let me show you. No, this is. I mean, these. I'm glad you're looking at what they're up to because I would pay no attention. If these people walked past me in the shops, I wouldn't even know they were famous. But here we go. Let's take a look. What's her name? Mutale, what's her name again?
Her name is Krishan. Krishan Rock.
Okay, right. Well,
Yeah.
what Mutale just said. All right, here they are together. This is the two of them. This is this famous toxic couple, and Simphiwe says all they do is like stab each other and fight, and it's just
And they drink a lot. Oh, there we go. You see?
That is them. And you know what
What-
the plot twist is right now? She's currently pregnant, and apparently it's not his kid. Like, this is drama that you don't need to know about, Gareth. Like, I'm just like, why are these people in my life? Like, I'm.
You know what? I don't even know why they're in my life. But the internet, recently, like when I'm scrolling, I find a lot of content on them. So I took an interest. I'm like, who is this girl and who's this guy? They're
Yeah.
always fighting. It's a tumultuous relationship. It's hectic. It's toxic. It's abusive. It's everything you wouldn't want for yourself, right? But I mean, they're there.
Well-
The internet is there. It's feeding us this stuff. So now I took an interest and I'm watching them. So
Sanela
this is
says
my honest.
Sanela says Blueface. It should be called Shitfaced. And and Sharon says, "Lol, she didn't look that fake." Okay, well, Cunning Stunt says, "Oh no, she's like a 2 dating a 7." Wow, mean comments coming in here. Yeah, somebody says
She's beautiful.
her eyebrows are not even the same size. Says somebody.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I mean, in this picture, no, they're not. No, they're not.
Let me ask you this, both of you, Simphiwe and Mutale, you guys pay more attention to like, whoever's trending on the internet than most of us do. And it's a good thing because then you help us, you short circuit this stuff for us. So you do the hard work and then we just get to understand a little bit about this. So all these people who are famous for being famous, right? These people who are like Blueface, first time I've ever heard of him. Are we not reaching a point now where there are more celebrities than there are people to follow them?
Not really. Oh, that's a good point. But I don't think
Because
so. No.
I think there's a new. Every time you kick over a rock now, you find celebrities under it, and I say celebrities like people who are internet famous, because that's the only fame that counts these days. Are we not? Do we not have enough of these people? Is it not too many already? Are we not like at our fill? Have we not eaten so much now that we can't eat any more of this celebrity shit?
I don't think so.
I kind of feel like celebrity. Do you want to go first, Simphiwe?
No, you're welcome to.
Okay.
You both said the same thing, by the way, but so you're on the same wavelength.
I kind of feel like there's different categories of celebrity anyway. So it's like you're internet famous, or you are, you're famous for being on TV, radio, and then the internet fame, sort of comes in. So it depends on, the level of celebrity. So some of the people who are internet famous actually end up following the A-list celebrity. So I feel like there's different categories. So you could be like in category A, B, C, D, or E. I think what you're trying to say is now it's going all the way up to Z, right? But
yeah,
everybody else who follows like the big stars type of thing. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And I think you're right. Like it does go all the way down to Z now. It's like A all the way through. And there is a space for everybody. I'm just wondering how full that space is right now. And Simphiwe, you kind of agree.
Yes, I 100% agree. I think just even looking at the times that we live in, people kind of get like literal 15 minutes of fame and then it's on to the next one. So right now we're talking about Blueface and his girlfriend. And I think in 2 weeks' time, we're going to talk about another couple. And that's kind of what's been happening, is that we constantly getting these hits of toxic couples or the Kardashians. And, and I think what's happening is that we're seeing just different people do what used to be the one main thing that made one person famous, do it. And it's like, okay, you done. 15 minutes is done for you. On to the next one. Like there's 50,000 rappers out there, but there'll be one who has a 2-minute hit. And then next week it's another one. And next week it's another one. And we all kind of get pulled into oh, you guys are the hot thing right now. Give it 3 months. We'll be talking about another couple.
That's Absolutely. The thing with like internet fame these days. I kind of feel scared because, people are consuming so much content. Like the public is moving on so quick. It's almost like, I can give you an example, let's say, of myself, right? Like maybe like 2 years ago, like in my country, if I do something crazy, I would be trending for like a week, right? A week and days. So it would give time to people to create videos and, obviously create their own content, either mocking me, supporting me or doing whatever. So like the trend would go on and I used to count like, okay, so we're going to trend for a week straight, and counting. But when you look at people who are internet famous, say for instance, they would trend for like a day or maybe a few hours. And if something else comes on, it's like,
they're gone.
People move on quick, fast.
Yeah.
So if I mean, trend in my country, it's probably for 4 days max. It's no longer 7 days, and it's getting lesser and lesser. I guess people are consuming so much content. Type of thing. So
I think that's a very good observation. And if we measure people's clout by how long they can trend for, then obviously everyone is in decline because nobody can really be in the headlines for more than a couple of days. Even the most famous people in the world aren't in there. I mean, look at how quickly everything, even hard news, if there's a major crime, look at this guy who was beaten up by the cops in Memphis, Tennessee, just 5 days ago. It's already off the headline. Nobody's talking. We're the first people this morning to talk about it anywhere in the world, I guarantee you, because it's moved off the headlines. And that was a fairly brutal and violent assault that was carried out on this guy. 2 years ago, when it was George Floyd, it made headlines for a lot longer. And obviously because there are other reasons as well. But I mean, this to me is just an indication of how like maybe we're moving into a different world now where fame is becoming very, very cheap. And it's not such a valuable thing anymore. And by the way, I thought this is the best comment so far. Somebody said the police, it's Boom Shakalaka. He says, the police never take good photos. I'm wondering if Boom Shakalaka has some experience in this respect. In my opinion, the police don't take great photos. So I don't know what you think of that.
What an observation. Like, how do you know?
But to add to your point, Gareth, I think one thing we've also seen is that we're getting like desensitized to a lot of things. Like it takes like something that needs to be on 1,000 for us to be like, oh my word, oh my gosh. Whereas when you think about it, like even the police brutality, it's like, what? This man got beat up. Like, wow, that's hectic. And we're just like, yeah, he got beat up. Let's keep it moving. Like we're so desensitized to everyday life and everyday struggles. And now it's like you're gonna trend or you're gonna go viral when you do something that we were just like, oh my word, oh my gosh. Like, and that's also sad. It's so sad. I mean, we were watching that demonic video right now of that lady who was possessed. It's like that, even that, those people, they weren't shocked. They were just like, oh, another day. Another day at the office.
And it also shows you, like, you think something is important and it's news and it has an effect on many people's lives, and you think this is going to be a big story. And then, you know, Doja Cat wears a red outfit and it knocks that off the headlines. It's insane.
I mean, right now it's Beyonce trending because she's going on tour. So when you look at what's really relevant and what we should really put a human face to, it's like people are just like, yeah, well, you know, that brutality, the police brutality incident happened. Oh, look, Beyonce's going on tour. On to the next, you know, like everybody has their bags and now they're, you know, they want to go get that money. People are breaking up with their partners because they, you know, they just want to go on the Beyonce tour. I saw an interesting conversation between a couple, right? I was just looking at at it this morning. So this girl tells her fiance that they can't afford to go on Beyonce's tour. They can't afford to buy tickets for the tour. And the guy says, why not? And she's like, well, we've been, you know, paying for a house and I put up most of the money for the house. So how are we going to now go to Beyonce's, you know, to how are we going to pay for those tickets? And the guy's like, no, we have to use the money for the house. So my bit of the money for the house is going to go towards these tickets and we have to go and watch Beyonce. And she's like, no, we can't do that. And I've been paying for this house, you know, like I put up most of the money, almost like 70%. And the guy says, well, it's my turn to contribute, but I'm not going to. So I would suggest that maybe we just, you know, you get a refund because I'm not gonna not go to Beyonce's concert. So let's get a refund. Let's forget about the house. And if you want your money back, go get it. I ain't putting a dime. You know how that conversation ended, bro? And no longer together.
That is crazy. Insane. So this guy chose the Beyonce concert over a relationship and a house the two of them were paying for. That's insane.
Yes.
You know how she should have ended that relationship? She should have played it.
How?
Can you pay my bills? Can you pay my telephone bills? So you and me are through. That's what she should have played him. I promise you.
I promise, yeah.
Hey, all right, well, Beyonce. Hey,
Mutale, I know you're only in South Africa for a short while, but you promised me you'll let us know when you're around. And next time we'll do this in the studio. It's always good to see you. And thanks for popping in this week. It was lovely to have you in our new premises. In fact, you're our first international guest to our new premises. So I'm really happy with you.
And you know, I'm so happy to bring, you know, my energy into the place. And I did say that for the fact that I was the very first international guest, that place will flourish. Mm-hmm. Can the church say amen?
Amen. Hallelujah. We receive.
All right. I love it. Thank you. You have a lovely weekend. Yes. Yes.
It was my first time meeting you, obviously. I didn't know you were that tall. Damn.
Well, I don't think I've grown since I last you know, saw you online, but thank you. I think that's going to be a compliment. Nice to see you. All right.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Mutale. Nice to see you. There she is. Zambian superstar, Mutale. She's the queen of Zambian media. She's a journalist, producer, voice artist, events host, businesswoman. And she's considered the most powerful woman in media. Some people also call her a terrible attention seeker. I don't believe any of that. She's one of the most renowned and accomplished media personalities in Zambia, and we're happy to have her on our show. So nice to have Mutale on this Friday. Just adds a bit of spice to your morning. We got Borge joining us in just a moment or two, so we can catch up with him. And then it's the weekend baby.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. January is officially over. so we can all breathe now. We can all go out, do things with people, live our best lives. Oh, this is great.
I know. Makes me very happy too. This is Guguletu's take on what we were talking about. Guguletu says the discussion just confirms that in life you should not worry about today and the things happening in your life, more so bad things. This too shall pass. Now, I don't know if you're referring to the guy who said he would rather go to the Beyonce concert than pay for his house, because that's not the right advice. I don't know if that would make sense to a lot of people. I mean, here, Carl says, I would rather have my eyes scratched out by a cheap whore with sharp nails than watch Beyonce. Yeah, but some people worship her.
Yeah. Do you know there's a whole church, a Beyonce church? Like, I thought the Beehive was bad until I saw this. Like, it was a short video on YouTube, and they're basically profiling this pastor that started the church, and they basically like have sermons on Beyonce, like on some this week, on that Beyonce album Renaissance, what she meant when she said this line was this. I was like,
her. So they're almost treating her songs like their Bible. So
yes.
Okay, I got you. Oh my God. That's insane.
And then every week you go and you learn new things about Beyonce and how you can, just get the spirit of Beyonce. I was like, this is craziness. And people go.
Yeah. Listen, people are desperate for heroes and gods. They want heroes and gods to look up to. And if your hero is Beyonce, well, good for you. If you could elevate her to being a god, good for you. I'm not going to take you terribly seriously as a human being because this is a singer. But you know what? Stranger things have happened. I know people who worship Prince and who worship Aerosmith and who, so go ahead. If you want to worship a singer, that's your business. Just quickly before we get to George, and this has to do with transportation. So I think a lot of people in Hypocrisy today, which is something new we're going to introduce. What is today's hypocrisy? Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's Bill Gates. He's very concerned about climate change. He flies in his private jet to conferences all over the world to express how concerned he is about climate change. And then he asks you to stop driving cars. And by the way, that is a big ass jet. Do you see the size of that jet that Bill flies around?
I see it. And I'm just like, sir, please, can these, here's my PSA to all these wealthy people out there, the top actual 1%ers of the world. Please stop telling us what to do with our money. Like,
Right.
You don't face the struggles that we face. You can afford to buy 50,000 companies, whereas I'm still trying to afford bread. So if I decide to buy myself a car, please stop telling me that I should stop doing that and look after the environment when you, sir, when you can actually make change. You're not doing it. You're on your private jet. Stop.
I wholeheartedly endorse Simphiwe's comments, and we will have more hypocrisy to show you as we go. All right, so George is here. George is back from the United States. George, how was your trip to Texas?
Hey, Gareth. It was, besides the time zone change, which I'll get to in a second, I literally only recovered from that time zone change maybe this morning.
Oh, really?
It was a good trip. I don't think going there is a waste of time because you get. The reason I go there is you get insight into what a first world country, well, so-called first world country, sees, and then that kind of gives you some insight into how South Africa is going to be technologically in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So, so the trip is worth it, but it's incredibly tiring.
All right, so it's a motor show that you went to, and you've been to this one before. What has changed? What was the most? We've got some pictures, and we've got some of your experiences that I want you to tell us about. First of all, here's you at the airport. Now, when we think of Texas, I don't think of Texas as being a cold place, but it looks freezing.
It was freezing the day I landed there, which was unusual because it was freezing when I arrived, and it was freezing the day I left. In between that, it was pretty much like Johannesburg. It's winter, the grass is brown, it's cold at night and warm in the day, maybe lower teens, mid-teens in terms of degrees Celsius or temperature. But that day it was freezing cold for some reason.
All right, tell us about this road. It's incredible. Flags all the way along it. Is this just for the show that you were at, or do they usually have these flags?
No, there's flags everywhere. So when you arrive in the United States, and I've been to 4 cities in America, and it's all the same. Texas seems to be bigger on flags, but there's flags everywhere in America, and it must be something to do with patriotism. But the point of that picture was the flags, and you can't there. The flags are probably 4 to 6 times bigger than a regular flag. Those flags are huge. They're just enormous.
Wow. Now, when you went to the show, it's called the NADA. What does that stand for?
The National Auto Dealer Association event. So what they do is anybody or everybody that supplies software, services, tire manufacturers, should I say, tire services, even tire manufacturers, lifts that lift cars up and down. I mean, I was mostly interested, obviously, in the software part of the halls, but anybody that supplies services to the auto industry put on stalls, for lack of a better word, like as in a normal show. And then there are 30,000 auto dealers in America, and probably about 50% of those at least descend on that show.
Phenomenal. All right, so tell us what you said you went mostly for the software stuff, or that's what interests you the most. So what can we look forward to in terms of what people are going to be putting into cars in the future? And I mean, you saw Tesla, which I got to put the picture up for, the newest Tesla. Here it is. There, that looks beautiful. Nice, George. You're going to buy one?
That was the Tesla Model 3. Picked me up from the airport. That was that typical Southerner that is in the other photograph. But Tesla Model 3 picked me up. There's a lot of electric cars. There he is. He's got Elon Musk as Jesus hanging in the rearview mirror.
Oh, wow. Elon Musk is hanging from the mirror as Jesus. That's hilarious. God, that's funny. Okay. Because hasn't Elon just moved his factory to Texas, right?
Yes. So the reason people are moving to Texas, or tech companies are moving to Texas, is because of the tax incentives. You hardly pay tax there. And that's why businesses are moving to Texas. So Elon Musk has moved there. A lot of other technology companies have moved there. And now they've got this show, which is the biggest auto dealer show in the world, that is now happening in Texas. And they've ditched one of the others, because usually before it used to rotate between New Orleans, Las Vegas, and San Francisco.
Right.
And I think they're going to ditch San Francisco. I don't know which one they're going to ditch, but they're probably going to ditch San Francisco for Texas. Yeah. And the reason is the tax incentives.
And because San Francisco is a dump. I mean, even Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked by some crazy homeless dude with a hammer in San Francisco, and that's in one of the nice neighborhoods. Can you imagine what it's like in the inner city?
Exactly. And when I went to the show at San Francisco, I was flabbergasted at how absolutely dirty that city is. It's terribly dirty. Whereas you go to a place like Texas, and it's a totally different scenario. The place is clean.
Which city in Texas were you in?
I was in Dallas.
Okay, lovely. I got a friend who lives in Dallas. He says it's the best part of Texas. I've been to Austin and to Houston, and I got to say, like, there are things about both those cities that are amazing. I haven't been to Dallas, but Austin is kind of like it's like a Democrat blue city, because they're quite liberal there, but it's in a red state, so it's almost like the best combination of both. And Houston is, the nice neighborhoods in Houston are beautiful, but the shitty ones are extra shitty. It's kind of like Joburg.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't find anything spectacular about Dallas, to be honest. But the thing that did strike me, though, is that it was clean. The stuff worked. I mean, you order an Uber, and within minutes the Uber comes. I landed back in South Africa yesterday morning, ordered an Uber. And Uber, they play games, you see, in South Africa. I think the Uber drivers play games. If the trip is not far enough, they don't accept the trip.
There's some that don't even accept when it's cash.
Because I don't live far from the airport, they just wouldn't accept this trip.
Oh, wow. So, Simphiwe, you said some of them won't even take cash?
Yes, they will decline if it's a cash payment. I've experienced that a few times. So they play games here.
They do. They do. So I want to show you something else, Gareth, before I go. And that on my way back from Texas, obviously flew through London Heathrow. And then I spent 2 days in London meeting with various people in England, including Auto Trader UK.
Okay.
But walking through East End in London, you know where the East End in London is?
Yep.
There's this area of the East End that has people that graffiti things.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever come across this, and some of these are commissioned.
Well, I mean, famously, Banksy is the artist who started this kind of street art, and you know, his stuff is worth just millions, and we still don't know exactly who Banksy is, but this is beautiful. And I saw a huge mural when I was in London. It was in the south, I think near Bermondsey, and I saw a beautiful mural that's quite famous now of David Bowie. I actually took a picture of myself there as well. But there is some absolutely incredible street art happening, and I was complaining on, I think it was Wednesday's show about modern art. But I mean, if it's like that picture you put up of the guy with the green background, and I mean that's really talent. That's an ability to turn, you know, and the bright colors and things don't put me off at all. It shows you that there are talented artists. Unfortunately, there's also a lot of rubbish that gets called art by people who probably don't have any talent. But it's easy to see what's good and what isn't. And that kind of street art is magnificent.
I think it's brilliant. And here's another one. And believe it or not, this is graffiti.
Oh wow! Look at that.
That's amazing. I'm talking about that image there is graffiti.
Right. That's magnificent. So, George, I mean, would you like to see more of this in South Africa?
Yes, I think it's just creativity, Gareth. I mean, you know, going back to the NADA show, you know, there's a proliferation of what is referred to as automotive digital retailing, and that's the main reason I went there was, you know, how do we bring more and more of the shopping journey for a very big ticket item called a car onto the internet? How do we think about finance? How do we think about car insurance? What software is out there that can do those things? And the creativity, not only from a tech point of view, but from an artistic point of view, as you saw in London, is just people think up things that we just seem to not do, you know. And then hopefully we're smart enough, like I do, and go over there and go bring those ideas back to South Africa. But why are we not coming up with those original things?
Well, because we're in survival mode is probably the short answer to that, because South Africans are just trying to, you know, make some food well before the electricity goes off, afford the basic petrol to where they're going. I mean, listen, this is not an easy place to live. You know, the tough survive, and a lot of people are not making it at the moment. If we could get out of survival mode, and maybe we would be in a position where we could think a little bit further into the future. And maybe we would be coming up with this stuff. But thank goodness for people like you going over there and taking the best ideas and bring them back. I think there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't think there are absolute, except for that graffiti art. There's no real absolute brand new ideas in the world. We all get inspiration from other things. You know, exactly. So there's no real absolute new ideas, but more people must go and get ideas from first world countries that have done creative things, bring it back here and make it better, make it your own. You know, and maybe that's the foundation. People should do that more.
So what are people talking about? Is AI becoming a discussion in these kinds of shows?
Yes. So a couple of weeks ago, you spoke at length about ChatGPT. So people are finding creative ways to integrate ChatGPT into their systems, or sorry, versions of ChatGPT, you know, other kinds of AI. And I think ChatGPT has reignited this call it love or interest in AI because of what it's been able to achieve.
Well, George, I'm sure you have lots more to tell us, but luckily we'll catch up with you again next Friday, and he is back with lots more. That's George Mienie, and a little bit of a pod for you this morning, just to give you a tiny little show of what he's learned overseas. He'll have a whole lot more on Monday on the Auto Trader podcast. Don't miss that. We will see you on Monday at 6 o'clock in the morning. Right, Simphiwe?
Yebo.
Cheers, everybody. Have an awesome weekend.